Hello, everyone. Welcome to yoga class today. Thank you so much for spending your time to join me for this practice. Today's class is called Yoga for Grief Relief. As I was planning this next class, I was thinking a lot about grief and how we all in this human experience grieve at one time or another. And grief can take lots of different forms. Sometimes we grieve a person or a pet or the loss of a relationship, maybe even something material or a job. There are lots of different ways that we grieve, and each individual grieves in a different way. When we're grieving, we feel stress in the body, and the body can start to function differently. So I'd like to offer you this sequence so that if you're feeling grief right now or at any point, you've got some postures that you can explore to help relieve and ease some of that emotion from your physical body. So go ahead and come onto your mat. Check the space around you as you come onto your mat. Pick the props that you think you're going to need for your practice. So a mat to sit on is really great. Couple blocks are going to be helpful while we explore a standing pose later and then a reclined posture as well. You may or may not need a strap. If you don't have blocks, you can use a pillow or some folded up blankets or maybe even a bolster. So just invite some of those things into the space around you so that we have those available when it's time to take those options for more supported postures. Now we're gonna start by just letting yourself come into stillness, depending on what you did at the beginning of the day or what you're gonna do next. Just come into this moment of stillness, just you and your mat. Notice how your physical body feels. If you are currently grieving, if you've had some kind of loss, you might be feeling this in your body. Your practice today might feel different. That's okay. Let it be what it is. Give yourself permission to practice in a way that's going to serve you. Allow yourself to pause anytime you need to. Take a different option if the one that I'm offering is not feeling great in your body. Pause the video if you've had enough. Come back to it later, or simply just let yourself come into rest. Take care of your body. Let's start our practice. We'll first come into child's pose. So we'll start from a kneeling position. And in this child's pose, we're going to open the knees wide so the knees come to the edges of the mat. We'll bring the big toes together. Send your hips all the way to your heels and then reach your hands forward. So you want to bring your forehead down to the mat. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat, don't worry. You can position a block, a pillow, or a blanket underneath the forehead to close that gap to bring the floor up to you. Now, once you feel your forehead connected down to the mat or to a prop, let your body sink into this grounding posture. This is one of the most comforting poses that we have in the yoga practice. Child's pose is known to help us sleep better at nighttime. If you're having issues with insomnia, then I recommend taking this posture for 3 to 5 minutes. Child's pose is also very beneficial to calm the nervous system. So when we take this pose, we can reduce anxiety. Continue to let the hips be heavy, sinking towards the heels. Feel into the hips. Feel your body grounded down. And just breathe. As you inhale, feel the belly expand.
As you exhale, slowly release the air. Take your time. And again, inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, now open the mouth, take a sigh of relief. Continue to breathe with intention. In your next inhale breath, lift your head enough to look forward. Take your left hand off the mat to the left. Lift your right hand, stack it on top of your left, and then lower that right shoulder down. Feel a stretch in the right side body. Now lift the right hand, take it back to the center of the mat. Bring the left hand to the center of the mat. Now when you're ready, walk that right hand off the mat to the right. Lift the left hand, stack the left hand on top of the right. Lower the left shoulder down. Nice stretch in the left side body, part of the human body that we stretch the least. Feel into this space. Let the tension go. Lift your head. Take the left hand back onto the mat, and then bring the right hand to the mat. Lower the forehead down. Take one more full round of breath. Exhale, open your mouth, sigh of relief. Inhale, lift your head. Exhale, walk your hands towards your body. Now, as you walk your hands towards your body, you're coming into a seated position. You might want to stay here. However, if this is uncomfortable for you to be on your shins, if this is too much compression in your knees, then you can lift your hips, take your feet to one side, come back into this easy seat that I started the practice in. So in this easy seat, you can have the knees bent with one leg in front of the other. If it's not comfortable or accessible to bend your knees, don't worry. You can lengthen the legs, straightening them out in front of you. We're just going to take this seat to come into breath work and then some more warm-ups. So for our breath work, we're going to practice 3-part breath. We're going to focus on the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Now you can take your hands to each of these spaces to feel the torso filling with fresh, clean, new air with each inhalation, and then releasing stale, stagnant energy with each exhalation. You don't have to take the hands to these parts of the body. You can simply feel into the torso and let the arms rest down. Before we start focusing on that 3-part breath, make sure that you're not sagging forward with the shoulders. Lift the shoulders up and try to position the shoulders above the hips and then ears above the shoulders. So imagine that you're rooting down in your seat, and at the same time you're rising up, crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling. So you're really lengthening that spine for axial extension. Another way that you can think about this is that you're sitting up against a wall. Imagine that sensation of leaning up against the wall and feeling that really straight posture. Now, if you've tried those cues and you still are feeling like don't quite have a straight spine, then you can take your index fingers and your thumbs to your ears. Imagine that someone is standing behind you, pulling your ears back. Feel the spine lengthen. Now hold that shape and simply release your hands. Let the hands float down to the legs or to the belly. All right, starting our 3-part breath. At the start of your next inhale breath, feel the belly expand. Feel the air rise up into the ribs and then into the chest. Now when you find your way to the top of your inhale, slowly release the air from the chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, slowly release. Continue to breathe in this way. Inhale, belly rises, ribs expand, chest as well.
Exhale, slowly release and let it go. You might even close your eyes as you continue to breathe in this way. Inhale to the top of the breath. Feel the belly rise. Feel the air traveling into the ribs, into the chest. Exhale, release. Slow, slow, slow. Continue with this breath, completely filling the torso with each inhale, inviting in fresh, cell-nourishing, life-giving oxygen, and then slowly and completely empty the body of carbon dioxide, toxins, and tension that is held in the physical body and in the mind. Inhale, feel the torso expand. Exhale, slowly release, let it go. Continue to breathe in this way. Maybe you tune into the sound of your own breath. Maybe this is the first time where you're really taking the time to connect with your breath. Know that as you inhale fully and exhale completely, you're down regulating, calming your own nervous system simply by lengthening your own breath. Stick with it. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, take in energy. Exhale, let go of whatever is no longer serving you. Let it go, let it go. Exhale, release. Now release control of the breath. Find your neutral breath. Breathing as you normally do without thought. We'll start to incorporate some more movement into the body. Reach the arms out. Fingers are reaching in opposite directions. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, cross your right arm over your left, bend your elbows. See if the back of the hands meet. Maybe the palms meet. Now pay attention to keep the shoulders low, but lift the elbows. Feel a nice stretch at the shoulder and the upper back on one side. Hold here and just breathe. On your next exhale, slowly unwind the arms. Inhale, reach them out, fingers in opposite directions. Exhale, now the left arm comes over the right. I realize that the camera is flipped, so this might look opposite to you. Bend the elbows. See if the back of the hands meet, or maybe you interlace the forearms and the palms meet. Now keep those shoulders low, just lift the elbows. Hold the lift, breathe. Feel gratitude for that deep stretch at the upper back and the shoulder. Let that tension go. Release it from your physical body. On your next exhale breath, slowly and gently unwind the arms. Inhale, reach them out. And then exhale, take them down. Now we're going to change the station of our body from seated to kneeling so that we can explore cobra pose. As you come into your kneeling position, once you feel your knees on the mat, notice how this feels. If this is uncomfortable for the knees, then maybe you open up a blanket and place the blanket underneath the knees. You can also achieve this with a knee pad. Now, if you don't need a prop underneath the knees, go ahead and walk your hands forward so the arms are at a diagonal. And then bend your elbows. Lower your chest and your chin down. Send the belly and the thighs down. So now we're in a prone position, belly down. Take your hands under your shoulders. Press the tops of your feet to the mat.
And as you inhale, lift your chest, gaze forward. Extension for the spine. Exhale, lower down, little back bend there. We're going to try that again. On your next inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, gaze forward. Relax the glutes, and then exhale, lower down. Let's take one more. Inhale, lift the chest. This time you might peel the belly off the mat, stretching the abs. And then exhale, lower down. While we're here, we're going to find some length. Bring your forehead down to the mat. Lengthen your arms beside your body. Bring your feet together. Let the feet touch. Tops of the feet are connected to the mat. Inhale, lift your right leg. Keep the lift. Feel the front of the hip connected to the mat, but the thigh is lifted. And on your next exhale, gently lower that right foot down. Take a breath. Notice the difference between the right leg and the left leg. You might feel more length on the right side. Now let's even that out. Inhale, lift and lengthen that left leg. Lift so much that the thigh is disconnected, but the front of the hip is still on the mat. Hold the lift. Breathe. And on your next exhale, let the left foot come down. Take a full round of breath. Feel into both legs. Now bend your knees, lifting the feet up. Bring both feet to the left and then to the right, as if your legs are windshield wipers on the car. Just releasing any tension there from the legs and the hips. Bring the feet to center, send them down. Take the hands back underneath the shoulders. Now we're going to use our strength to lift up. So straighten the arms. Now we're going to come into a different child's pose. Bring your knees together, bring your feet together. Take the hips to the heels. Now in this variation with the legs together, bring your arms by your sides. Lower your forehead down to the mat or to a prop. In this variation of child's pose, we're getting flexion in the spine. So we're decompressing the spine, stretching the muscles in the back, and getting a release for the low back. This is a really nice counter stretch anytime we're doing back bends. And from here, we'll explore another back bend. This one's going to be a little deeper. To transition into it, take your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, lift your head, straighten your arms. So we're back into this straight spine, axial extension in this seat. We're now going to lift the hips and come onto our shins. Now look down to your knees, separate them so that the knees are hip distance. Now if you're not sure what hip distance is, find those bony bits at the front of the hips, so not the outer part. Find the bony bits. That's where you want your knees positioned underneath. Now, this posture that we're coming into is called camel pose. I'm going to give you some different options. If the tops of your feet are down onto the mat, there's going to be more of a reach. So to make it easier, you can curl your toes. This is a great option because not only does it bring the heels closer for you to reach, but it also stretches the area underneath the toes where a lot of us hold stress and tension. Now, to carefully come into our camel pose, we can explore taking right hand to right heel and then left hand to left heel. From here, we press the hips forward, we open the heart, and we gaze up to the ceiling. If that is not accessible in your body today, don't worry. You can take your hands to your glutes. Imagine that you're putting your hands into your jeans pockets. Then maybe uncurl the toes to get more stability, a bigger foundation with the tops of the feet connected. If your hands are on your glutes,
open your heart. Bring your elbows towards each other. Gently press the hips forward. Let the heart open up, cultivating love and compassion, extension for the spine, and then gently come out. Now, if back bending feels limiting to you, you can come back into child's pose if you'd like. Maybe taking 2 or 3 breaths there, getting that counter stretch. Moving from extension of the spine of back bending to flexion of the spine, folding forward. From here, we'll come into a neutral tabletop position. So we're bringing the wrist under the shoulders. Fingers are spread wide. Knees are under the hips. Now, as you inhale, let your belly lower towards the mat. And as you exhale, lift your back as if you're trying to tap the ceiling with your shoulder blades. Inhale, belly lowers, tailbone lifts. Exhale, lower the tailbone. Lift your back like a Halloween cat. Feel a really nice stretch. And we'll take one more full round. We'll meet at a neutral tabletop position. From here, we're going to come into a low lunge. For the low lunge, you're going to practice bringing one foot forward. If this is the first time you're doing a low lunge, I recommend taking your hands to blocks. So you want the blocks at the highest height. This is going to create more space for you to bring your foot forward. Now, whether you have your hands positioned on the blocks or directly onto the mat, lift one leg. I'm going to start with the left side. So I'll lift my left knee and then I'll step the left foot outside of the left block. Now, when I press my hips forward, my knee is coming past my ankle. So I'm going to shimmy my foot forward so that I can get my knee tracking above the ankle. Now, if your shoulders are coming past your wrist, walk the blocks forward so that you've got the wrist under the shoulders. Now, as you come into this, you might already feel a really great stretch at the psoas muscle on the right side. This muscle gets tight when we're sitting for long periods of time. This muscle connects the low back to the femur bones, the biggest bones in the body. So anytime we open the psoas muscle, we're releasing the low back. Now, you can stay on the blocks if you want to, or you can bring your hands down to the mat. If your hands are coming down to the mat, bring them in line with your left foot. If this feels pretty easy for you and you want to challenge yourself and go deeper, then you can practice coming onto your forearms. If you're coming onto your forearms, position your elbows in line with the arch of your left foot. If you still want to go deeper, curl those right toes, lift off the right knee. If the knee is lifted, focus on pressing the right heel back and keeping that left knee bent at the same time. We're opening our hips. Now, opening the hips is really important in order to release stored emotions. If you're currently grieving, opening the hips or opening the heart might make you release some emotion. That's okay. Trust the process and let it happen. Now, if your knee is lifted, go ahead and lower it down, gently connected to the mat. If the forearms are grounded, take the hands to the mat. Straighten the arms, stacking the bones. Now, if you started off with the blocks, invite the blocks back onto the mat. Take each block underneath each hand. From here, gently slide that left foot back, bring the left knee in line with the right. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So now the right leg is going to move forward. Lift the knee, step the right foot outside of the right block. press the hips forward as much as you can. Feel a really nice opening at the front of the left hip, getting into the psoas muscle on this side. Now check your leg, look down. Shimmy that foot forward to get the ankle in line with the knee, and then make sure the wrists are under the shoulders. This is a great option. If you're feeling a stretch, stay here. You don't need to go further. If you were in another option on the other side, remember the options you can take. You can set the blocks off the mat, bringing the palms to the mat. You can bring your forearms down to the mat, positioning your elbows in line with the arch of your right foot. You can curl those left toes coming off the right knee. If you're taking this option, press the left heel back as you continue to bend the right knee. So not only are we opening the hips, but we're also lengthening the muscles in the legs. This is a grounding posture, but we've got a lot going on here. We're able to release, strengthen, and ground down. If the knee is lifted, go ahead and set it back onto the mat. If your forearms are on the mat, press palms to the mat, straighten the arms. From here, slide that right foot back. Now we're going to change the positioning from kneeling to a standing forward fold. To get there, I recommend taking the hands forward, curl your toes, lift your hips way up high, send them back. This is downward facing dog. Just using down dog as a transition, slowly walk your feet towards your hands so that you're walking your feet at your pace to the top of the mat. Now, once you get your feet towards your hands, bring your palms to your shins. Take a half lift. Straighten the legs, feel the hamstrings stretch. And then as you exhale, fold. Let the arms dangle. If the back of the thighs, the hamstring muscles are tight, then bend your knees. That's going to be more comfortable. Now you've got the choice where you can let your arms dangle, or you can take your hands to opposite elbows, framing your head with your arms. If you're framing your head with your arms, you can get more traction in the spine. Your choice if you want your knees bent, or if you're feeling more flexible today, maybe you work towards straightening your legs. Listen to your body. Check in, see what your body needs. You might even play around with bending one knee as you straighten the opposite leg. Give yourself time and freedom here to explore those areas that are sticky or tight. Let the tension go. Feel the stress leaving your body. Feel gratitude for this time for you to practice. Now bring your legs to neutral, either straight or bent knees. Release your hands if you're grabbing your elbows. Inhale, come back into that half lift. Look for your blocks, invite them onto the mat. Now, positioning the blocks underneath your hands, look at your feet. Step your right foot back about 3 feet. Straighten both legs. Rotate the right toes to the right edge of the mat. Take the left block to the outside of the left foot. Take the right block in line with the left foot and the left block. So we're coming into a supported pyramid pose. We want both legs to be straight. We'll take an inhale breath. As we exhale, we'll bend the elbows, lower the torso towards that left leg. Feel a deeper stretch in the left hamstring.
Focus on sending that left hip back, right hip forward. Breathe. See if you can lengthen your breath for one more round of breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the right foot in line with the left and go into a forward fold. Now, as you come into this forward fold, hands can stay on the blocks or your arms can just dangle down. Notice the difference between the left leg and the right leg. Notice the space at the hamstring, back of the thigh. And then on your next inhale, take your hands to your blocks. Take a half lift. As you exhale, step the left foot back about 3 feet. Rotate the left toes to the left edge of the mat. Straighten both legs. Take an inhale breath. And on your next exhale, bend the elbows, fold forward. Now in this position, you might not need the blocks. You might bring your fingertips or your palms all the way down to the mat. This is up to you. With both legs straight, focus on sending that right hip back, left hip forward. Feel that tension just release from this area. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the left foot in line with the right. Come into your forward fold. Hands can stay on the blocks, or you can remove the blocks. I'm going to set my blocks out to the side. Now in this forward fold, you might feel the hamstrings a little more open now. You might be able to straighten them a little more. Wherever you are, bend the knees. Now take your time to slowly rise up to standing. Press your feet to the mat. There's no rush here. You want your head to come up last to prevent you from getting dizzy. Slowly rolling all the way up. Coming into a standing position. This is called Tadasana or mountain pose. Now, as you come into the standing position, your arms are by your sides, palms are facing forward. If you have a tendency to lock the knees and you feel compression in the low back, take a micro bend in the knees, pull your belly button towards your spine, feel the tailbone lower down. So this is safer alignment. Notice the foundation at your feet. Give yourself time to feel grounded at your feet. Notice if you're shifting around and just let yourself get settled into your bones. Maybe you close your eyes and bring awareness back to your breath. Lengthen the breath. Exhale, let it go. Take your hands to your hips. Step your left foot back. Shift the weight to the right foot. Now, as you step your left foot back, look at this foot. Make sure that the pinky edge of your foot, the pinky side of your foot, is parallel to the back of the mat. So your toes are facing opposite directions. Now look down to both feet. Let's talk about how to properly set up for Warrior 2. If you look down at both of your feet, try positioning your right heel in line with the arch of your left foot, and then try positioning your right heel in line with the heel of your left foot. Whichever one you like best, set it up that way. Then let the arms fly. So you're reaching fingers in opposite directions. That right knee is bent. Now look to that right knee. Try and see your big toe and your second toe. If you can't see your big toe and your second toe, then your knee is moving into the midline and you could tweak your knee or your hip. Let's keep it safe.
Open it up, see that big toe and second toe. Now, this is a strong standing position. Building strength, pressing the feet to the mat. Your gaze is at your right middle finger. On your next inhale, lift your arms up, straighten your right leg, and then exhale, come back into your warrior two. Let's take two more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend that knee. One more. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms rise up. Exhale, it's warrior two. Now we're gonna come into the other side. Straighten the right leg, let the hands lower down, turn the right toes facing the same direction as the left toes. You might want to bring your hands back to your hips and then turn your left toes to the back of the mat, bend the left knee. Decide how much you want to open your legs. So you want to feel that you're stable. You don't want to feel that your legs are splitting apart. Find what that distance is for you. Now, the pinky edge of your right foot parallel to the top of the mat. Left knee is bent. When you look down, make sure that you can see your left big toe and your second toe. Also look down to the feet. Set the left heel in line with the right arch or the left heel in line with the right heel. And then fly the arms. Gaze to your left middle finger. Strong standing posture. This is warrior two. Find strength in this pose. Feel the legs activating and engaging. With the breath, we'll move. Inhale, arms rise up, gathering energy, straighten the leg. Exhale, back to warrior two. We've got two more. Inhale, straighten the leg, reach the fingers to the sky. Exhale, warrior two. Just one more. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, it's warrior two. From here, press into the legs, straighten it. Turn all 10 toes facing the same direction. Lower your hands to your hips. Heel toe your feet back to hip distance. And then turn to face the top of the mat. We're going to go from standing position down to grounding. So a way that you can get there, if you need support, is to come onto a chair or a bench to help you lower down. If you don't need that assistance, then come into Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Let the palms meet. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Come into your forward fold. Once you come into your forward fold, you can take an optional half lift. And then exhale, take a deep bend in the knees. Plant the hands. Lift one foot, bring the shin down. And then lift the opposite foot, bring the shin down. Send the feet out to one side so that you can come onto your seat. Back into a seated position. We're going to come into head to knee pose. And we're going to do this one side at a time. So go ahead and let yourself ground down. Take a sip of water if you want to before we move on. And just know that from here until the end of our practice, we're going to be grounded on the mat. We don't have any more standing options for this class today. Now, once you're on your mat, go ahead and extend one leg. Straighten it out. The opposite leg, the knee is bent. The sole of the foot is at the inner thigh. Now, in order to set ourselves up correctly with our alignment, we're going to take our hands to our ribs and then rotate your torso to face your straight leg. As you inhale, reach your fingertips towards the sky, flex your foot, and as you exhale, fold forward. So you're reaching your hands for your shin, your ankle, maybe you even hook onto your foot. Now pay attention to get your belly and your chest towards your leg. For those of you that are really flexible, you might take a block to the sole of your foot and then take your hands to the block so that you can get a little more length. Now, with each exhale, fold a little deeper. Think about bringing your forehead towards your knee. Continue to rotate your belly towards your thigh.
Nice stretch for the leg, for the hamstring. You might also feel this in the back space. Let the head lower down. Exhale, let go. Couple more rounds of breath. On your next inhale, gently let the head lift up, release the hands. Come back into a straight spine. So we're going to do that very same thing on the other side. The knee that's bent, now the leg straightens. Opposite knee bends. Sole of the foot meets the inner thigh. Now, if you're coming into this practice with some knee issues, feel free to reach out to me. I've got another class that's yoga to soothe knee pain. But in this particular shape, if this is too closed off of an angle for the knee and this is not feeling great, instead of positioning the sole of the foot to the inner thigh, you can open up that angle by taking the foot lower down on the leg. So just know that you have that option anytime you need it. Now, once your legs are set up, take your hands to your ribs, rotate your torso towards your straight leg. Reach your fingers up towards the sky, and then exhale, fold forward. Bring your belly towards your thigh, lower the chest. Notice where your hands want to go. Maybe the forearms simply rest on the mat outside of the leg. Maybe you reach for your ankle or your foot. Maybe you're feeling more flexible and you take a block to the sole of the foot and grab onto the block. Whatever you choose, continue to rotate that belly towards the thigh. Relax the head and the neck. Let it lower down to the leg. Breathe. Exhale, sigh of relief. Just one more full round of breath. Inhale, fill the torso with fresh, clean, new air. Exhale, release any stale, stagnant energy. Inhale, lift the head. Slowly rise up. Exhale, bring the arms towards the body. Now we're going to come into a posture that's called Paschimottanasana, and that just means seated forward fold. So we'll bring our legs together. Once you bring your legs together, bring the feet together. And as you come into this shape, you can take your right hand to your right glute, pull the flesh back, and then take your left hand to your left glute, pull the flesh back. That's going to get you more grounded in your sits bones. Flex your feet, bringing your toes towards your torso. Take your hands outside of your hips. Inhale, reach your arms up. Now, as you exhale, hinge at the hips. Let your torso fold towards your legs. Now, we're taking a lot of forward folds in our practice today because we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to go inward. Allowing ourselves to process any grief that might be arising for us. Continue to let yourself go inward. Feel a nice deep stretch in the entire back space. Let the tension go. Release any congestion that might be stuck in your body. Exhale, let it go, let it go. Two more rounds of breath. Big exhale. One more round, breathing with intention. Inhale, slowly start to rise up. Okay, from here we are going to take one more posture before we come into our final relaxation. This posture is going to be great for opening up the front of the body, specifically for opening the heart.
So, as I was saying before, if you're feeling emotional, this is a time with the heart open that you might feel those emotions come up, and we're going to practice just letting them come out. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably doing this in your home space. You might be by yourself. So, this is a great time to just let that emotion come up. If you cry, great, you're getting a release that's very therapeutic. Let yourself go through this process. All right, so this one is called double block. I'm going to demonstrate with 2 blocks. If you do not have blocks or the blocks aren't comfortable for you, that's no problem. You can do this with a pillow or a rolled up blanket. So this is called double block because one of these blocks is going to go to the back of the heart space and the other one is going to support the head. Scoot forward enough to where you have enough space to bring your back and your head onto the mat. Now I'm going to take the block to the mid height and I'm going to position it to where I think my upper back is going to land. So if you've got a bra on, if you're a lady and you've got one of those, think about that bra strap space landing right on top of the block. The second block is going to go to support the head. If you've got neck issues, you're going to take that second block to a higher height. If you don't have any neck issues at all, you might take the block to a lower height. This is totally up to you. If the block is at a lower height, this is going to be a more intense stretch. So we'll just start it with a little more neutral. Now looking away from the blocks, start to lean back. You might even hold onto this first block until you feel it properly positioned at your upper back. The block should not be on your neck or your low back. Now, grab the second block. Let your head come onto it. You might need to modify your hairstyle. If your ponytail or something is in the way, then just let the hair be loose. And then take your arms out to the sides. Feel that chest lift. If this is too intense for you, then maybe you use a pillow or a rolled up blanket instead of a block. Or maybe you lower the block to a lower height. Give yourself time to modify, to find the appropriate variation for you. And then breathe. Let your eyes close. Let your entire body melt down onto the props, into the mat. Feel the support beneath you. Know that it's okay to let go. You're in a safe space. You're supported. Let go. Breathe. Let each exhale breath be a release. Let each exhale be a sigh of relief. We're in the final stretch of our practice. From here, we're just going to work towards relaxation. Let the heart space open up. Let the tension go from the back. Let the emotion release from your physical body, from your mind. This is your time to focus on yourself. Take what you need in this time. Allow yourself this opportunity of being vulnerable and processing. Then release with each exhale. We're going to slowly start to come out. And slowly just bring the arms down by your sides and then rotate the palms facing down to the mat. From here, lift your head off the block or the mat. Start to lift the shoulders. Now press your hands to the mat. Straighten the arms, lift up. This way you can remove the blocks out to the side. We want a free space on the mat. Once the props are removed, lower down. Bring your heels to the corners of the mat, creating space between the feet. Connect your entire back, shoulders, and head to the mat. And then open the arms out to the sides, creating space at the armpits. Setting your body up in the shape of a star. Tuck your chin towards your chest so that you can lengthen the back of the neck, the cervical spine. Know in this time of stillness, your body temperature may go down. Think about inviting a blanket or a layer onto your body, especially if you need nurturing. Let your blanket or layer provide warmth for you in this time of relaxation. This posture is Shavasana. This is the most important posture of our practice because it allows us time to integrate all the movement that we've done. All we have to do now is practice presence in our own body. Just allowing ourselves to be. There's nowhere to go that's more important than to be with yourself in this time. Come back to your breath. On your next exhale, let your body melt down onto the mat. Imagine your physical body like a pat of butter that you've just put into a pan. Imagine your yoga mat as a pan. Let your body melt down, soften. Completely surrender to this time of relaxation. Bring awareness to your breath. Practice lengthening the breath if there's space. Shavasana is the ultimate yoga pose to release stress. Breathe and let go. Eyes are closed. Whatever thoughts arise, simply send them away just as easily as they came in. Just breathe. Of all the stressors that we encounter in our lifetime, grief is usually what gives us the most amount of stress. When you're faced with grief, find your way to your mat. Even if you're just coming into Shavasana, Allow yourself this time to slow down, to stop, to process, to let go, and to just be with yourself. You deserve this time. Staying in this position, take your hands to your belly. Feel your palms resting on your belly. Inhale, feel the belly rise and expand. And then exhale, feel the belly soften. Inhale, feel the belly rise. Exhale, feel the belly soften. Inhale, take in energy and strength. Exhale, let everything else go. As you continue to breathe, feel the sensation of a flat back, a neutral spine. And then slowly bend one knee at a time, bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. From here, roll over onto whichever side you'd like, coming into the fetal pose. And fetal pose is our posture of new beginnings. With your eyes closed, start to visualize how you'd like to move through the rest of your day, your evening, your week, your month. Take in a full, deep inhale. Exhale, open your mouth, release. Find strength and energy using your top hand to press the floor away. Slowly, carefully, and gently coming into your seated position, just like we started our practice. So we're coming full circle. As you come into this seat, take your right hand to your heart center. Take your left hand on top of your right. Feel the energy and the love coming from your heart space. Inhale, take in this energy and love for yourself. Exhale, send it out to everyone that needs it. Now slide your right hand to your left shoulder, left hand to your right shoulder. Tuck your chin toward your chest. Let this shape symbolize a hug of gratitude to yourself for simply showing up. Whether you did all the postures, or maybe you did a few, or maybe you just stayed in Shavasana the entire time, you showed up. You showed up for yourself. Take a moment of gratitude for that. And then move your torso from side to side, continuing to offer this hug of gratitude to yourself. Slowly and gently come back to center. Release the hands, bring the hands together, thumbs to the heart center. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within you. I'm grateful to you for showing up and for allowing me to guide you into this beautiful practice. Namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.